I mean, a real top 5.
This isn't a real top 5. This is a...
Mine took me about 13 seconds because I just thought of it.
But those are the movies that come to mind.
They do. They are. And a river runs through it. It's gonna probably touch the top 2 or 3 or 1 every single time.
It is a very good film. I don't have that on my top 200 list. It's actually...
Are you reconsidering at this point?
You know what? I have a whole other list after the top 200.
The other top 200?
That's like 100 more films that are in the cut, and I'm going to tell you that I had A River Runs Through It on my list for a while. I bumped it.
Well, both of them.
Hey, Pat, is Brokeback Mountain on your top?
It is.
Fucking
well, it's on my other top 5 that I'm going to talk about later. But both you and Justin have brothers, right? Yes. I have a brother, and that's why A River Runs Through It. Kind of touches me deep. Like, I really kind of feel like in my brother relationship that I'm the Paulie, I'm the Brad Pitt character that ends up dying. What do we say? I'm here for a good time, not a long time, and that's kind of how I live my life. My brother's definitely the professor type. He's a scientist. So like that movie kind of really is just you know what I mean. He's the one that fell in love first and got married first, and I'm the one that was like, I'm never going to leave, as he says, Montana or whatever.
Right.
And so it touches me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a very good film.
I just feel like having a brother is just another layer of existence, kind of like being a grown adult and having a child. Like you know this whole other realm and world that other people will never understand. And it's the love for your brother or your sister. It's one you would die for.
There's no other love than a sibling, period, in a story. It. Like my brother is my everything, 100%. So is my sister, by the way.
Yeah, but there's also this element to A River Runs Through It that plays in, and we talk about how great films have a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary level.
That's your 3 levels.
Yeah, absolutely, and I do believe that A River Runs Through It has those levels. I mean, we're talking about it right now, and I'm almost just wish I would have had it on my list because I'm thinking about it more. But it's a movie that the fly fishing, which is the symbolic bond that the father has between the 2 sons.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's a symbol, and that fly fishing, when they just go out there, they just lose themselves. And I believe, if I haven't seen the film for a few years, but I believe there's like a narration or something that describes the isolation.
Tick tock.
And it describes how when you're fly fishing, you're just in this zone, which is a symbolic representation of that zen that just comes from the natural order. And there's a competitiveness between the 2 sons and the father.
Correct.
And so now you're taking the symbolic level that you're operating on. Now you're moving into this other zone. And the beauty and the quality of the depth of the film breaks into that other level when it takes on those philosophical,
like existential
discussions about at what point there's one son who's doing all the right things.
Yep.
He's marrying young. He's pleasing the father, who's
pleasing the Lord.
Yes, and it's archetypes. So the father represents the archetypal father that everyone has, and it represents God, right? Because there's this next level. And so it's really a story, when you look at it, it's a story about the fall of man, okay? And how man turns against God, right? So you have the story of the rogue angel, right? Who could be described as Lucifer,
Satan,
right? Yeah. So you have the symbolic quality to the film that is telling an old story, but it's doing it with these new archetypes, and it's subliminally telling us this story. And so, yes, and talking about that, it's a great film. It really is.
That's cool. Yeah, even if you've already seen it, you'll probably want to go watch it again. I know I do.
Absolutely.
There's a part in the film where the brother Norm just got accepted to be a professor at the University of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And he walks in, and his dad was reading scriptures, and he walks in, and he starts reading scripture. Like the dad was reading out loud, and then the brother follows through, and then the dad follows, and then the brother follows, and then the dad follows. And to me, that's just such a pure, like, exciting moment in a film. And then I think the next scene after that was Norm goes and tells his girl, hey, I want you to go to Chicago, blah, blah, blah. She says yes. And then he goes to his brother who's at a bar, and they sit down, and he says, I'm in love, brother. And they do Boilermakers, and they just have a great night after that.
But see, what you're also seeing by using the archetypal characters of the two brothers, you're seeing a Cain and an Abel. In this particular instance, Cain didn't kill Abel. But you're seeing this
competition.
You're seeing this competition and this dynamic, which is held up. But what you're seeing is the duality of man between the two archetypal characters. So you're seeing the one moral, upright, righteous man who is living within the eyes of God, the Father, and then you're seeing this other archetype that is like, fuck that, I'm going to Chicago,
rebellious.
I'm gambling, I'm taking up a debt, I'm doing this and that, I'm rebelling against God.
And
it's the duality of man represented in a film. For sure. And that's the tertiary level we're talking about.
You know what's funny is the parents, and even in this film, it shows that the parents want to be more proud of the kid that is at the bar getting drunk, but he's the new writer for the Helena Sun or whatever, and he's met Calvin Coolidge, the president. This kind of, like, they want to be more proud of him.
And that's the social achievement.
You think more proud? I mean,
I don't know about more proud, but
that's the social achievement aspect of it.
Correct.
And so we're talking about a film here. We're already discussing this film with multiple layers.
Yes, we are.
Probably great. I mean, if I could redo my list right now, I'd probably have it on there just based on this discussion.
Like the whole
here.
Duality is just something that we've just come to know once we came into existence with night and day.
Right.
So there is a balance, because the balance is at the 12 spot.